Good afternoon. I wanted to highlight an issue which you may or may not know much about: live animal export. This is something which we at the Conservative Animal Welfare Foundation are actively campaigning to stop. And I feel like I am not doing enough to help spread the message, hence my words to you today. Hundreds of live animals, sheep, cows and pigs, are regularly and needlessly transported for many, many miles for slaughter and human food consumption across the border and beyond. Sometimes these animals are even re-exported to third countries where, sadly, non-stun slaughter is heartbreakingly the norm. Once animals have left the UK shores, we have no control as to where they end up under EU regulations. Now, the floors of these trucks that the animals are being transported in are completely inadequate after a couple of hours of travel, causing risk of disease and, of course, unnecessary suffering, as animals simply do not want to lie in their own waste. And they have no choice. They do. They arrive at their destination covered in their own waste if they've survived the journey. Animals are transported in both blistering heat and also in freezing cold conditions, and water may not be provided for them. And even if water is provided for them, some animals don't understand the feeding system used in these trucks because they've been used to buckets and troughs in fields. These animals are sentient beings. They feel pain, they feel suffering, just as we do. We believe that the animals used for food consumption should be slaughtered as close as possible to their birthplace, and live transports can be replaced by a trade in meat. Using local abattoirs would be an economically viable alternative to live exports. The fact that this goes on is just appalling. It's simply disgusting, and there are, of course, alternatives to this cruel and needless practice. You may be thinking, well, why should I care about a bunch of cows and sheep? Well, in my opinion, they have just as much importance on this planet as we do. And for these animals to go through the horrific suffering they do is simply unacceptable. Imagine pre-COVID that you were on a crowded tube or stuck in a cramped elevator which stops for a few moments. Maybe the train has stuck in a tunnel or the elevator is suddenly jammed, and you are there, smelly people, sweating, it's hot, you start to panic. For a few small moments you were probably thinking, when is this going to end? Is this going to end? And then we've all breathed that sigh of relief when perhaps the train goes again or the lift starts to move and we can exit our floor. Well, these animals cannot get off. They're stuck there. They don't have a choice. They're put on there, they're cramped, they can't breathe, they can't eat, can't sleep, can't do anything. And I think we are better than this as human beings. There are alternatives, and the situation makes me really, really sad. So if you could please have a read on our website, the link is in my bio, perhaps to, if nothing else, make yourself a bit more aware of what goes on. And if you feel so inclined, support our campaign. And if you can spread the message and support, that would be really good. Thank you for listening.